What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is John Collins. I'm the owner of Risen Holster Co. and today we are talking battle belts. Now, to answer the question that's probably on a lot of your minds right now before we go any further, why in the world would I need one of these things? I am not military, I am not police, I am a civilian. What does a civilian have a need for a battle belt? Well, I've actually got three pretty decent reasons as to why these things are awesome and something that you should consider getting. Stick around. So before we get into the specifics as to why, let's start off really quick for those that don't know on what the battle belt is. Now, the battle belt also is referred to as a war belt. This is neither. This is actually a competition belt, but what they are meant to do is be a more overt exterior belt that we wear over top of all of our stuff that carries all of our shooting equipment. That's the firearm, extra magazines, medical equipment, and all those kinds of things. Now, what are their uses? Well, obviously a battle belt or a war belt, pretty self-explanatory. These are what your military and law enforcement are going to wear as they're out doing their jobs. That's going to keep all of their equipment on them, and that's going to keep everything, nice and secure and accessible. On the opposite side, we have a competition belt here, and that is worn typically during your like USPSA, IDPA, 3-gun, 2-gun, all those kinds of shooting competition matches. But the idea is still the same. We want to have all of our magazines and our firearm securely attached to our bodies, all kind of in one big kit, and have everything accessible. Now, there are two types of belts. You have a one-piece belt and you have a two-piece belt. One piece is going to be designed to basically just clip straight over top of your body. I actually have this belt converted over to kind of work as a one-piece belt at the moment. But basically what it's going to be, I'll pop it open and show you guys here, is you'll have some sort of like a scuba webbing, stickier kind of material on the inside here. And this is going to stick to whatever it is that you're wearing. It doesn't require the extra belt that I'll get into in a second, but this can just be thrown on over top of your clothes and hold all your stuff on. Now, the drawback to this and why a lot of people that are really using this for work or competition are going to use a two-piece belt is that this is only going to be as good as this material is sticky on the inside. It's going to have a tendency to want to maybe move up, move down, kind of slide if you are doing a lot of bouncing and moving around. Versus the two-piece belt. Now, two-piece belt is going to require you to wear an inner belt, which is going to be the opposite form of whatever Velcro this outer belt is. You're going to put that on, attach it to your belt loops and everything, and then this is designed, like I said, with that opposite side Velcro to adhere to the inside of that, or the outside of that inner belt. That's going to hold everything on much, much more securely and in place. The idea of a two-piece belt apparently actually came out of the competition world, and it was quickly adapted on the military and law enforcement side because it is much, much more secure to holding everything in place. Now, so to get into the specifics of why would you want something like this as a civilian? Well, reason number one is that it is a really big increase to our training ability. So when we go to the range, if we have a range that will allow us to holster our firearm and draw from whether it's concealment or on a holster on our hip, this is a great option to basically have all of our equipment attached to us and really be able to work on a lot of the ergonomics of our shooting ability. It'll help us with drawing and reholstering. It'll help us a lot with being able to do reloads and have all of that stuff accessible. Reason number two that it is a good idea to get a battle belt is that it is much more convenient. Instead of having to have a holster and then go out and buy your separate mag carriers, and you take that stuff and you put it on individually and separately around whatever belt that it is that you're wearing, stuff has a tendency to want to slide. It's just cumbersome having to put all that stuff on all the time, take it all back off. Instead, we can take a belt and have it all already pre-installed on there, and then it's as simple as sticking the belt on. The other benefit of the modularity of that and the convenience of it is that if you're going to the range and we're shooting a firearm, we definitely want to have some medical equipment with us. Most of the time, they're going to have some there, but it's going to be wherever the range officer is. If you bring your own, it might be in your vehicle or it might be in a backpack. It might be less accessible. This is a great option to be able to throw some medical on a belt and have it on your person so that if something was to happen, whether to you or to somebody next to you, you have immediate access to medical gear that could be life-saving. Now, that doesn't need to be a gigantic IFAK like what you see on this kit here. It could be as simple as just rubber banding a tourniquet onto your belt. But having this accessible and easily, readily available in the moment that it might be needed could be the difference between somebody getting very, very hurt or even dying versus having the ability to save a life. So, something very important to think about. Now, the third and final reason that I think somebody should own or want to own a battle belt, it's going to be kind of silly to say, but I think it does need to be said: freedom. We live in the United States of America, and stuff like this is readily available and accessible to us. So why not have one? Anybody out there telling you, hey, you shouldn't have that, is hopefully coming from the side that doesn't want us to have guns anyway. Obviously a whole separate argument, but if there are people in the gun community that are telling others, hey, you guys shouldn't have to have a battle belt, you have no need for one of those things, I think we need to get away from that. We have a tendency amongst ourselves to kind of be a little bit divided and a little bit of our own devil's advocate when it comes to this kind of stuff, and we shouldn't be. We want this stuff proliferated into society. We want this to be a norm. I want preparedness. I want all of this stuff to be something that's just expected to have as a gun owner, because why not? And anybody out there telling you that, hey, you shouldn't have one of those things, I think we need to take a step back and have the mindset of everybody can kind of do their own thing, to each their own. It may not be something that I have a desire for, but that does not necessarily mean that I should tell others they should not have it. So, battle belts are cool. Battle belts are fun. Battle belts are also very, very useful tools, but I shouldn't actually have to have a specific use case for having one in order to have one. Maybe I just want it. Maybe it's just a cool idea. Maybe it's just going to sit in my basement and be something that I LARP in every once in a while. But why not have one if you want one, right? So, third reason, silly, but go get one if you want one, because they are pretty cool. Now, for those of you that are interested in getting one of these and want a little quick rundown on how to set one of them up, I will give you a quick rundown of how I have mine set up. This is kind of the generic way that most people are going to set them up initially, but I also don't have nearly as much time on these things as a lot of other people that use them for work-related things do. So search it on YouTube. I'm sure there are a boatload of different videos out there that will better explain what I'm about to explain, but I'll give a quick rundown for those that are interested anyway. Now, it's going to look different depending on what you're using it for. This is a dedicated competition belt. Because I make holsters, I have a handful of different belts, and I have them all set up more specifically. So this is set up for whether I wanted to run it with 2-gun or USPSA. It's just my holster on a boss hanger. Rule of USPSA is that you're not allowed to use a leg strap, so that's why it is absent on this holster or this belt here. But then I have my 3 mag carriers and my pistol mag carriers and my 2 rifle mag carriers, all attached via the Blade Tech locks. This is a pretty common setup here. We do sell the holsters, the mag carriers, and all that stuff on our website, so if you're interested, definitely give them a look. The nice thing about running these style of mag carriers in a competition setting is it does allow you to cant the holsters and make them a little bit more ergonomic when you're doing your mag changes. But as far as the medical stuff goes, for this, I only opted to run the tourniquet. Trying to carry all that extra bulk while you're running and gunning. And a competition is a little unnecessary, plus there's like a dozen guys all standing there that all have similar setups and medical and all that kind of stuff, so it's not as immediate as it could be in other situations. In comparison, here is my battle belt. This is a core belt. I also did opt to run the Kydex mag carriers that we make on this one as well, and canted them and everything like that. I have a dump pouch, so this is more kind of like what I use at the range typically if I'm just going out and plinking and running drills and stuff like that. But a dump pouch to throw extra mags, spray paint, markers, all that kind of stuff in. Medical kit, this is just a standard IFAK. North American Rescue is a good brand if you're trying to fill one of these things out. Just go get cat tourniquets and North American Rescue IFAK contents, and usually can't go wrong there. Extra little pouch just to have room for it. Usually I'll stick a hat or a rag to clean off stuff or something like that in there. Multi-tool, because those are handy to have when you're at the range. If you got malfunctions, you need to tighten up screws or anything like that, get a stuck case out of the inside of your chamber. It's just nice to have a multi-tool on you. And then your holster. So I have a second tourniquet holder here that I don't obviously have a tourniquet in, but this is one of our standard Warrior outside the waistband holsters. I have it on the QLS fork and receiver and mount it to one of our UBLs. These are from Talon Retention Systems. And then a thigh strap. Kind of, again, your standard setup. I also have the glove hanger, and just to keep a set of gloves with this so that if I needed them while I have them, they're already a part of the kit. But again, the pistol and 2 mags and then 1 rifle mag kind of tends to be the standard when you're setting up your belt. So you can go from there by adding the extra mags. I have a separate belt that I have the STAT Kydex mag carriers on, and it's 2 pistol and then 2 separate rifle. But the general start off point is 2 pistol, 1 rifle, medical, and your firearm, and then you kind of build out from there. The one thing you want to keep in mind is don't go crazy with throwing literally everything on this. It does not need to be Batman's utility belt. You just need the stuff that's going to make your range time more efficient. Use it from that point, tweak a few things, and then as you find the need for certain things that might be convenient to have on your belt versus having in a backpack, slowly add things on and try things out. As far as brands and stuff go, there's a boatload of different brands that make different things. Like I said, we make our mag carriers, but there's a bunch of options as far as the IFAKs and the extra pouches. Honestly, as much as I don't really like supporting China, a great way to do this, because a lot of our stuff is kind of expensive when you get into some of the companies that make the nylon gear, is jump on Amazon and buy a couple of really cheap ones. Expect them not to hold up, but you'll be able to try out some of the stuff and kind of get an idea as to how you want to run it. And if you find a setup that you like, then ditch the crappy Amazon stuff and go out and get yourself some of the better gear that our US companies are making. So that's kind of a quick rundown really quick on how I would set one of those up. That also kind of wraps up our video. So if there are any specific questions you guys had related to this, definitely please shoot us a comment down below in the YouTube video. Also reach out via our website. If you got any questions about the holsters or the mag carriers or any kind of that kind of stuff, definitely reach out. And again, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. If you haven't liked or subscribed, please do so. Help us get all of this stuff out to you guys and to more people as we figure out this YouTube algorithm. But I appreciate you again for you guys tuning in. God bless. We'll see you on the next one.